Well, hello everybody. Today I am joined by the lovely Alistair McLeod from House of Alistair, and we have an extremely special guest, the winner of the Sownby 2024. We have Luke Iveson with us. Hello and happy Christmas.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
So this was something that we hadn't really planned. It was all very last minute. So Luke, thank you so much for joining us. But obviously, what aired on Thursday was the Sewing Bee Christmas special with four celebrities, and I'm going to go celebrities in inverted commas because there's A list, B list, and C lists. Um, First of all, what was your thoughts about the overall part of the program, Luke?
I was really excited to see another Steps person. I think we had Claire one year, didn't we? Was that the previous year? So it was nice to see H on this year. It took me back to being 10 years old again. I thought this one was super festive. I really enjoyed last year, but I mean, that was in the midst of waiting for our season to come out. So it was still a bit triggering, where it was nice to kind of watch this one, relax into it. And I thought they had a lot of fun.
And what about you, Alistair?
Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was very Christmassy, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought they could have had at least one more like celebrity on, because I think when you're working in fours, I think if they had had a fifth one, that might have just have made it a little bit even sort of like extra.
Yes, yes.
Um, but apart from that, no, it was very interesting, and it was interesting to see how they tackled all the different sections, because it's not like a real zombie show at all.
No. But what I will say is that obviously there was four celebrities. Three I knew, but I didn't know the girl that was the comedian. I'm sorry, I'd never come across her. One thing I'm going to get out there straight away, that all Geordies do not sound like Charlotte Crosby. She is from Sunderland and her accent is extremely broad. And as much as my accent is extremely broad, we don't all speak like that. One thing I was very surprised at is on the Sown B Natter on the Facebook pages, this particular one had the reactions were poles apart. Either people loved it or people absolutely hated it. And it wasn't so much the actual things that they were doing, it was poor Charlotte Crosby has really come in for some stick. But if we start off straight away, and we'll start off with our first challenge, which was the Advent calendar. Now, the thing I'm going to quickly get to it. Prim, which I'm one of the ambassadors, will love the fact that these scissors, which is these scissors here, were actually highlighted as being the best scissors in the world. They are. I know they are. We'll start off with the Advent calendar, then I'm going to come back to you and ask you a couple of questions, Luke, about the tools that are actually on the set. So first of all, what did you think of the challenge and what each one of them made?
I think the BBC or the Sewing Bee producers may have microphones somewhere in my house because I actually made an advent calendar right before the episode, which I have brought along,
Wow, that's fabulous.
Nice.
Love it.
which is basically the same techniques that they use. And I think it was really nice for them to be able to show kind of how they're made because it is so easy and so customizable. And I thought it was really fun to see how each of the celebrities kind of added stuff on. I mean, the hot glue guns were out, let's be honest.
Yes.
I think there's a bit of sewing putting those pockets on. But no, I thought that was a really good challenge for the first one.
Oh, Alistair, what about yourself?
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good challenge. I have written down here in big capital letters, glue gun, sort of like question mark. And I thought, like all the other sort of like programs and stuff like that. I thought what would have been nice is if they had maybe done this as like a fun sort of like charity sort of thing where, for instance, the celebrity that won might have been able to have donated some money to their charity and really give a real thirst for I want to win kind of thing. But no, I thought the advent calendar was a nice thing because essentially Kim and I always bang on about, and I'm sure that you'll say the same thing. When you start your sewing journey, the best thing to do is to start with something that has straight lines, because a straight line is the key thing you have to master on a sewing machine. And even if you just get a scrap of fabric or even some photocopy paper, and you just run that through your machine and work with the foot and everything like that, and you just go, straight lines are perfect. That's why we always suggest doing something like a cushion, but the advent calendar used lots and lots of straight lines, and it was great that they were able to customize it as well. I did find some of the applique and choices a little bit questionable, but I never thought I would ever see a Christmas tagine. But there we go.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So one of the things I was going to ask you, Luke, was in particular, obviously this was highlighted. These are the Prim dressmaking shears, and the joy of these is that they cut to the very end on the set. And I'm because I know the stuff that Prim provide. There's lots of tools on there. One of the things that we've always talked about, Alistair and I, is what education is given to the contestants. So are you told what the tools are that are laid out or are available on the set and how they work beforehand? Or is it a lucky thing? Good luck.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise because we bring our own sewing kits. We're allowed to bring things from home, obviously not machines. So I think in the first week, at least, you're kind of relying on what you've brought because you know it. So you want to do really well in that first week. So like I was using my own scissors, even like my own pins and clips and stuff. And then, yeah, they provide so much stuff that you can use. You start to kind of play with those. So like I'd never used the Prim loop turner before, and now I've got 6 of them.
Yeah.
So you do get to use them throughout the different challenges, but we don't necessarily, get a full breakdown of how to use some of that stuff. But most people, to be fair, had brought similar items. We do get trained on the sewing machines.
Right.
And thankfully on my series, the cover stitch machine as well, because I'd never used that before.
Well, that's it. Cover stitch is its own beast. It would be better and I think fairer because often if you've got the right tools and you use them on the right application, it's going to make your job so much easier. So for example, the Prim loop turners, which I'll just grab mine because I know I've got them. They have different sets, but effectively they're a tube. Millions of years ago, it feels like millions of years ago, I did a course with Eleanor Burns, and at the time, your Starbucks or your Costa straws used to be rather large, and they used to be quite sturdy. And Eleanor used to always use those, and literally, you basically shove this into your tube. The tip is, rather than just sewing the 2 sides, sew across the top, even if you don't need to use the top at the end, because you can always cut that off. And then you poke it through and you get effectively what's a flat-headed skewer and you poke it through. But if you were presented with that and had never seen that before, whereas that makes your life so much easier. This is the largest one, by the way, if anybody's querying it. You might think, what on earth is that? And so whilst we sit here, and we've had lots of guests over the years and say, if they've done that and they've done that and done the other, but we can see the equipment and we're lucky enough to know how to use it. I do feel that the production team could make it a little bit fairer for the contestants. Would you agree with that?
I think so. I think being able to bring your own kit is, people do rely on that at first. And I mean, we have all of the tools, but it's nothing other than the loop turner, which I'd never used. I think most of the stuff you've already got, it's probably just leveled up a little bit in terms of what you've got at home.
Right.
So yeah, I think maybe going through it. I mean, sewing machines, I think the contestants need to get familiar with those because we all know sewing machines are so different. But I mean, a pair of scissors.
Yeah, is a pair of
as
scissors.
long as it cuts, it's fine.
Yeah. So the advent calendar, we obviously talked about the glue gun there. There's nothing wrong with a glue gun, I don't think. I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. Yes, I know it's a sewing bee, and yes, we need to sew. But sometimes for something like a Christmas project, the glue gun is a useful tool. I know I'm being very controversial there.
That's sacrilege for Alistair. He's going to be shaking his head at that comment.
No. Honestly, I use a glue gun. Not on my not on my couture gowns. I'm not there sticking rhinestones on with my glue gun. But no, there is a huge place for a glue gun. For instance, whenever we do our like scented pumpkins and we're attaching the leaves and things like that, yeah, a lot of the time, like when I've written a craft book, yeah, the go-to thing years ago was, with a slip stitch, hand stitch it onto the back. Honestly, no one really has time for that, and you get more accuracy and you actually get a more permanent adhesion with using a glue gun. So I'm all for using glue guns, mainly for the crafting stuff that we do, rather than, and for instance at Christmas a glue gun comes into its own. I mean, the only thing that I really despise in the world is fabric glue. And when I see, and I've seen this so many times, people act like they think, oh, this fabric glue, this means that it's a no-sew glue. And I've actually witnessed somebody trying to make a dress using just glue. It was horrendous. That's all I can say. And that was years ago, and that's when it first came out, and everyone thought, oh yeah, this is just the bee's knees. It's just going to be it should be banned. It is just awful. It really is awful. Talk about transfer, and it was so wrong on so many levels. But no, I am in agreement. A glue gun used responsibly, it is a thing. But you just need to watch your fingers, because when you what I do all the time, when I put the glue gun on, I then sort of like pat the thing into shape, and usually I stick my finger right into the hot glue, and then I'm dancing around, and I usually throw what I've just glued to the other side of the room and running around trying to put my finger under the tap. But it takes.
You're pulling the strings. You're pulling the strings of glue.
Yeah.
Well, did you actually know in movie sets, when they're actually creating a haunted scene, to create realistic spiders' webs, for years that's what they actually use. So they a blob of glue gun, and then they waft it off, so you get really thin strands, and that's what they use to make cobwebs.
Well, I didn't know that. There, you see, everything all day, Alistair, with you. Everything. Yeah. So we'll move on to the second challenge, which is the transformation challenge, which in the past is Alistair and I's personal one that we absolutely hate.
No, I don't believe you.
Oh yeah, we do. Should have gone into pantomime there, you see. I went to the pantomime the other day, actually. That's another story. So the transformation challenge this time, they had to transform a little onesie into something for Christmas, an outfit for Christmas. Now, what I will say is that their selection compared to how many contestants there were seemed to be quite fast. That was my first thing, because we always laugh and say, unless you're a really good sprinter on the sewing bee, and if you're last to that rack, you often get left with the things that people don't want. So, Luke, did you enjoy doing your transformation challenges, first of all?
Oh, I loved them. They were my favourite. Yeah, and I think that comes from obviously doing drag, being super creative, being like able to kind of not follow the rules. I was really nervous about the pattern challenges, to be honest. But no, I love the transformations, and I was quite a fast sprinter as well. So I think most of the times I always got what I wanted. But there is more than enough for the contestants. But yeah, some of the stuff will be like minging, so you want to make sure that you get the best stuff.
Yeah. So this one, they obviously. What did you think of the transformation challenge with the 4 contestants on the celebrity?
Yeah, I like this one. I think it was quite similar to one that we had, where I think it was in Kids Week, and we had to use towels to make a kid's costume. I still stand by that my fish and chips was robbed, but obviously Pasha's dinosaur, crocodile, alligator was amazing. But no, I really like this one as well. It felt like it could have been a challenge on the normal season of Sewing Bee as well. And even just the way some of the celebrities, I think it was Kelly, was cutting go days into the onesie to really transform it. I thought that's amazing for someone who's not necessarily sewed before.
Was that the Ice Queen one? That was the blue.
Yeah, that was the ice cream.
One. Yeah, that was the ice cream. Yeah, I thought she did really, really well.
Did you think it was Elvis though?
No, that was the star. The star.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was the star. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, there were to me the ice cream one. Yes, I know we have the advantage of knowing. I thought it was very Frozen in the choice of colours. Where she said it was an ice cream. To me, I thought she had that one. I think Patrick and Esme had been on the sherry when they'd been out of the room. Charlotte Crosby did actually say that she thought they were drunk. But what did you think of? So Charlotte did the star, which everybody thought was Elvis. Then we had the ice queen. Then we had Fat Rudolph.
Kelly's was the pudding, wasn't it?
It was the pudding, yes. So what were your thoughts on the other ones? Did you think it was a snowman, a snowball, or did you think it was a Christmas pudding?
I'm not a fan of Christmas pudding, but I mean, it looked like a Christmas pudding. And again, yeah, I think it was Fatty who did the ice queen, which thought the go days were cool. Kelly's, again, the construction of creating that shape was amazing. Yeah, it was a bit saggy in the back, but we all know you've got 90 minutes for that. I thought H's was great. It looked like a reindeer. For me, it was quite an obvious choice. I like to go a bit more outside of the box, and it still looked like a onesie. But I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Alistair, what was your thoughts on that transformation challenge? Be kind.
I agree with Luke. I just think that H's was a bit it was a bit safe, and essentially I think if he hadn't had that sort of like they kept on commenting that it was a pregnant reindeer at the front and the belly, if he hadn't put the belly on, I think essentially it was a brown onesie where he had just added antlers. So I think all of the other three contestants actually showed more skill in terms of their application. And also, if you think back to his advent calendar, yeah, he made a Santa sack and stuffed it. He was using the same principle with the felt and the reindeer antlers. So I thought, in principle, if I put my sew and bee hat on, I think everybody else showed far more panache rather than just all essentially he did was embellished. He just embellished the onesie. There was nothing else that he did. He didn't cut into it. He didn't change anything. He didn't transform it really. I thought that Fatima's Ice Queen. I think if you have to explain what something is, I think you then have to get into hot water. And I think what would have made hers a little bit better, she only put the good days in the front and the back, but she obviously had two side seams as well, which would have created a bit of extra volume. So I thought if she had added maybe a little bit more of it in there, but fair play to her, she did that sort of stand, collar, which for a novice sewer, that's not an easy thing, and to actually still have it standing up. Because when you attach it, you just think, oh, it's going to stand up by itself. No, usually it just flops down because of gravity. The star one, I actually thought was really, really fun with Charlotte, and she really went to town, adding the shoulders in and the tassels and everything like that. So I thought that was really good. And I thought the Christmas pudding, the concept, I thought was great. And that one, you would never really have thought that had started off as a onesie.
Yeah.
Because she had completely taken it apart and then used it as she sewed it all up together and then used that as a big piece of fabric to then try and create a thing. So fair play to him. I really I did enjoy this transformation challenge.
Whoa. That's the first time Alistair has ever said.
Yes,
Alistair's coming to the dark side.
Yeah, but I think our local lake and everything will start to freeze over by the next season that comes in. So I think I might revert back to my normal witchy self. But no, I thought for what they did, I thought it was really good. And I think sometimes if you've got novice sewers in terms of celebrity novice sewers, that there's only like maybe two of them that actually had picked up a sewing machine ever at one point. So I think if you've got somebody that's never used a sewing machine, I think giving them the onesie, and it's something that most parents or even adults would have to do at home who aren't necessarily sewers. So that will probably given lots of people lots of tips and how to just use a few things to create something for maybe it's a fancy dress outfit or a kid's, World Book Day event, that kind of thing. But it was good.
Yeah. Would you have, I mean, we're talking about things staying up vertical. Unlike these ones, H's reindeer antlers were firmly stuffed and were standing vertical. Would you have, because the order was H1, the star was second, I think Kelly was third, and the ice cream was fourth. Would you have had that order? Would you have had a different winner on that particular challenge? Alistair, I'll ask first.
I would have probably aesthetically like the finish and what it actually looked like. Yeah, H's it looked clean, it looked nice. But I'm actually going to say I would have probably have put Fatima or Charlotte actually further towards the top, because if you're critiquing it on the full transformation and the skills that they showed off, I don't think it was necessarily judged. It's like Esme made, like she always does. She made a really, in my opinion, a bit of a stupid comment on the Christmas pudding. She said, "Oh, the bow isn't quite straight," and I was like, "Is that all you've got to critique this?" The woman's stripped it back in the 90 minutes. She's sewn everything up. She's created her own fabric, and she's created this entirely new shape. And and then H has just used the onesie and literally added antlers, a tail, and a belly. So that was just my teenage son just deciding he was going to leave the house and let everybody know that he was doing that.
Look, what was your thoughts about the first to the fourth on the transformation?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with Alistair. I'm not sure I loved Charlotte's as much as you two. I got the concept, and I think she came second, didn't she?
She did, yes.
Yeah. I think I would have put the ice cream and the pudding higher up for the same reason that it was more of a transformation. Like they used all the same techniques that we did in the Children's Week towel transformation that we did, and they all like the construction of it worked really well. Antlers stood up, the shape of the pudding, the godes and the ice cream. I thought they were real, transformation. So yeah, they would have been higher up for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm on the same thing, because I think what we've also got to go back to is the title of the show, which is the sewing bee, and then that is a transformation. And you've been criticized, not just yourselves, but previous contestants have been criticised because they haven't transformed the garment or whatever the base, the foundation item has been. And certainly H hadn't done that. I know we're being a little bit kinder because they are celebrities, but my personal favourite, even though it wasn't completely stuffed, which I think she was thinking about the child sitting down, was the Christmas pudding, because that was a complete transformation. So we'll swiftly move on to the final challenge. I'd be interested to know if they, like the contestants on the Sewing Bee, were actually given a heads up as to what they were doing. I feel that they must have done, although when it's been edited, it sounded as if they'd just been told and they came up with that information, which possibly couldn't have happened because they had the fabric, they had the patterns, etc. But I'll start with you, Luke. What did you think of the final challenge, the fitting challenge?
Yeah, I think this is where, I love the challenge, but it was quite obscure. Going for a Christmas number one, I liked that they had kind of free range to go in any direction, but I think it just felt a bit obscure compared to the other challenges. I think they all kept it quite Christmassy. I'm not going to comment on the sausage roll.
She was rocking Greg's, right? She was rocking that Greg's.
It was a choice. I really loved. It was Kelly's Last Christmas.
Yeah.
Again, I think she said she had some sewing experience when she was younger, but that jumpsuit could have been, for me, on an episode of the sewing bee with sewing contestants. I thought really smart to go for something bigger that you could belt in for that fit. I think the shoulder pads were put in the wrong way round from when I was looking at it because they didn't sit properly, but still really like the shape. And Fatia's Stay Another Day, I thought was iconic, and I thought it looked really impactful. And I was surprised the judges didn't like that maybe a bit more, because for me, at that point, it was between one of those two to win.
What did you think of H's Dragon? He's Nod to the Green Green Grass of Home, which I didn't think of as a Christmas #1 or Christmas song.
No, I think that's where it got obscure, because depending on what song you chose, it could stray really far away from Christmas. And I think that's sometimes the challenge that we as contestants experience. Like, you think you're being clever and smart, going in a certain direction. And again, if you go too far down a certain route, you have to find that kind of balance. And I think I liked the creativity and where he was kind of thinking outside the box. But for a Christmas episode, it didn't really make sense to me. It kind of felt like it was still in the transformation.
Did you ever do that final challenge, that fitting challenge, where you'd obviously, predetermined what you were going to do, and then got halfway through and thought, I really should have done something else? Or did you ever have that regret?
I, to this day, regret my dress for lingerie week.
Right.
It was, honestly, I didn't practice that one because I think by that point I wasn't sure I was going to still be in the competition. So from then on, it was, go, go, go in the challenges. And I remember picking it thinking, oh, it looks fine. Like, I know how all the pieces go together. Like, I am quite into construction. I read the instructions for the pattern the night before, and it literally says 3 days to make. And I was like, how am I going to make this in 4 or 5 hours? But it was all sewn together. Was it neat? No. I got some good comments, but yeah, that's probably the one that I do regret picking.
Right. Alistair, what was your thoughts on that final fitting challenge?
Well, it was quite interesting because obviously there was a lot of tongue-in-cheek for the first two, and obviously bearing in mind it was a celebrity special and it was supposed to be truly entertaining and light-hearted, and because a bit silly and it's Christmas and what have you. But as I wrote down here, I said, this, like, Esme and Patrick, they suddenly come into like almost like full-on critiquing as if they were actual contestants. And I thought, one, this is not fair, because the contestants that apply for Sew & Be have an interest in sewing. They have a knowledge of sewing. They haven't just, oh, this might be nice for a few, like days out kind of thing. I've got nothing else on. I'll just try that, my hand at that. But I just thought some of the critiques were really, it was really sort of, some were quite harsh, but then others weren't. I thought H's outfit was, I hated it. I'm sorry. I absolutely loved it. No, I absolutely detested it. I thought, at least when you're putting those inserts in, like, fair enough, for costume and things like that, or something for stage, or something that maybe is going to be worn for one event, if you're going to shred fabric and put it on, fair enough. But that was just a giant like poncho. That was just like, as Luke said, that was just a continuation from, the transformation challenge. And to me, there was, apart from a few different, if it had been like, musical week and he had done that, but in a dragon sense of a nod to the Technicolor Dreamcoat, I would have kind of got it. But it just looked messy. It was just the scalloped edges. Nothing was even attempted to be finished or anything like that. And then and the reason I'm saying that is because then you look at Fatima's, the concept was really, really clear. It was such an impressive sort of like take on something that we're all of a generation that remember when that single came out, because, I was glued as a teenager to see what the Christmas #1 was. And I thought it was really, really clever, and also doing it for a woman, and to also have the hijab as well. So I thought that was really quite clear, and that was really involved. And obviously, when you heard her comments about putting in a sleeve, I thought, at least you're being honest, because she was like, "Oh, it just looks like easy," and then she looked at the two circles and thought, how one's got to fit into the other. Obviously, the bus starts and stuff like that. We'll just skip over that because I thought the concept was really, really, really a very clever concept. The sausage roll, that was just basically a tube dress with a bit of fur on the top. Where, I mean, it didn't say anything remotely like sausage roll to me. It looked as if she had gone ferret catching or something like that. It was just not it. That was not my cup of tea. I got the concept of the song, but
she should have had like a swirl of red or mustard down the front, so it looked as if it was, that's something.
Yeah, H said something about tomato ketchup.
She needed something on it because I couldn't believe when she said sausage roll. I thought she was going to go down the Greggs route. I seriously did. I mean, Greggs is huge all over the country now, but it did originate from the northeast. And when she came up with that, I thought it's really clever because it's your nod to the northeast. But there was nothing there. If she'd made it like a paper bag, like the Greggs paper bag, which is synonymous with the white and the blue, but there was nothing, absolutely nothing. If she'd made a handbag or an accessorized it, or
if for instance, I think with that, choosing that concept is like where do you actually go with that apart from making a costume? And I would have used scuba fabric, which would have kept its structure and it would encased you and made you look like a sausage roll. But I thought, didn't she think like, I'm going to choose that song because I'm trying to be funny, but the execution of what she actually produced, like how did that even remotely look like a sausage? But fair enough, the color was there, but was it?
I thought the dress was actually really nice. Forget that it was supposed to be like a sausage roll. Well, no, you know what I mean. I think she didn't do a bad job. I mean, I'm not going to be wearing it, but I'm trying to be kind here. I thought what she did was okay as long as you didn't realise it had anything to do with a sausage roll. It was just, like you say, a tube dress. So if people wanted to give it a go and they wanted to get some sparkly fabric and make, a quick outfit for going out, then fine, but not in the concept of she lost it. She's just given in. She did really. I think she peaked on the transformation challenge. If the truth be,
I quite like the humor that she was going for. Like I can't remember. It's the mum and dad who sang that song,
something lads.
The lad.
Hang on, I'll find it because we have done an amazing amount. Going back to what you said earlier on, Alistair, about this should have been towards a charity. When they did that husband and wife team, which I will get the names for, the amount of money that they've raised for charity is absolutely astronomical, and they've highlighted the charities that they're working with. This would have been so good. So I can understand she was trying to be clever in respect of that, but failed miserably.
Because they could have done it in conjunction, because I know the laws with BBC and stuff like that, which had slightly relaxed and what have you, but I think they could have done it for children in need.
Exactly.
They could have tied it up with an already charity that they already endorse. So I would have just thought it would have been a bit of a nicer sort of I would have thought it'd have been a bit of a nice thing because just to do it at Christmas, just to have made it a charity and maybe he's chosen celebrities who have got some sort of sewing background to really make it interesting and judge it like a so if you watch, I know we always use Bake Off as a comparison because obviously it's done by the same production company, and especially when we've always spoken about the first challenge that they do, everybody should have the same, everything should be identically the same, and then be critiqued on what the individuals produce rather than free rein it, because you're going to let yourself down if you trying to do something structured but you use a satin and you don't really know your fabrics, then of course you're going to be marked down on that. But anyway, I just thought it would have been nice if they had done something towards charity for it.
It was Lad Baby who did the sausage roll song, so that's I've just Googled it because what we don't know, lad baby. So all in all, I think I took away from it because I was skewed a little bit. I didn't watch it until after it had aired, and I saw the responses, and I thought I'm really not going to like this. Overall, from an entertainment point of view, I did have a little chuckle when Charlotte accused Esme and Patrick of being drunk because she hadn't picked it, and also the comment when Esme pulled something off. I know that it was awful, that last one that each did, but when something came off and he accused her of actually pulling it off, I thought that was quite funny. I did personally find it entertaining. What did you think?
She likes to do that.
Yeah, I think she does deliberately. It's like when she finds the little holes, I just think, really? They've done so well. It's overall fabulous. And then you go and find something to pick on. Yeah, I can imagine her having a bit of a tug. Did you enjoy it as an overall program, Luke?
I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think out of the Christmas specials that I've watched, I think either they, to your point, Alistair, they've got someone on that can sew and you know they're going to win. Sometimes there's no sewing skills whatsoever, and you're just watching it for the entertainment. I thought this one felt more involved than other celebrity specials. Like there was some really good techniques in there. I think the challenges were really good. People could try them at home, and I thought it was quite funny as well. There was some really good one-liners in that.
What about you, Alistair? What did you think?
Yeah, no, I thought overall, rather than, because obviously we critique the Great British Sewing Bee, and I thought as a sort of like a Christmas special, a fun program to watch, I thought it was actually, really good. And I must say that Esme and Patrick's acting skills have slightly improved. I use the word slightly. Wasn't too keen on his dad dancing at the back when he was dressed as the Christmas tree. I was embarrassed for him being a dad. I was like, yeah, that was just. I think they'd had a gin by that point. I think.
Yeah, Esme had a flush, didn't she? Well, she had a big jumper on as well, which might not have helped, but she was definitely.
She was twirling around. Her and H at the end were giving it a right good dance. She's still got the move.
So, is H small, or did Esme have big shoes on? Because they were about the same height.
No comment.
Oh. So what?
Oh, did you like Fatima's comment?
Which one?
When she was talking about how she was gonna, that's my sort of like future husband and what have you, and she said, obviously, I'll make him a suit rather than the dusty old one that he's brought. And I thought that is just so, because the thing is, on Savile Row, there are the younger guys on Savile Row who will choose, a really nice cloth, a really nice cut, and then there's the guys that go to the traditional tailors. And if you ever look at if you look at Patrick's derriere, you will look, and when you see the actual vent at the back of the suit, you think, my God, that's enormous. But traditionally, the vent on the back of a suit jacket, when you sit down to make sure that the jacket parts, is always much, much larger. However, it can look really, really old-fashioned. And his suits always look really old-fashioned. Plus, also, I don't know if I should say this, but anyway, my ex-assistant who has done all of her training is now, what have you, Patrick wears, even though it doesn't necessarily fit, he will wear the samples from his Savile Row outfitters. Really? So you'll notice that some of the sleeves on his suit, now everyone will be watching next season, but you'll notice that some of his jackets actually are shorter in length than they actually technically should be, because he is a bit like Prince Charles. He doesn't like waste. And obviously he went on that big sort of like recycling sort of thing. But I think when you're on TV, I think you're allowed to have something that actually fits properly.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an ambassador of your own brand. That's all I'm saying.
Put it out there. What you like. So get the teeth in, Kim. House of Alistair at the moment, because this is a Christmas special, you tell them all about it.
Yeah, so we have on the House of Alistair website, we have got all of the Christmas fabrics. We've got the gilt cottons, we've got normal cottons, we've got poly cotton. So the poly cotton's reduced to £2.50 if you wanted something just economical to just whip up 20 stockings or what have you. Also, if you put at the end of checkout, if you actually put the word loyal, that will get you a 10% off discount.
Including the sale?
Including the sale.
And loyal, does it have to be uppercase or lowercase?
I think I've put it in capitals. Now you've made me think. Put loyal 10 or just loyal. One of them will work.
Right, loyal 10.
In fact, actually, I tell you what we'll do, because we'll pop the link on, and I'll go on the back of the thing. I'll go around the back of the computer and see what we plugged in.
So next year, Alistair, 2025, lots happening. You've got some regular dates on Sewing Street.
Yeah. So we've moved over there. Been on with the lovely John Scott, so that's been going well.
Excellent. And also moving forward on the House of Alistair YouTube channel, we will be launching some things in 2025, so watch out there. Look, what have you got planned for 2025?
I am getting married in 2025 in Gran Canaria during February. So I am currently, over the Christmas period, finishing up my suit for the wedding. And then post-wedding, I am working on some patterns as well. There's a small kind of pattern collection that I'm going to be releasing, as well as going to all of the shows. And I've also started making a lot more drag costumes, not for Selma or Grace. I've been making them for some of the RuPaul's queens for DragCon that's coming up. So that's super exciting. So yeah, I'm really excited for 2025. I think it's going to be quite a creative year.
That's excellent. That's good to hear.
And you'll let us know when you launch your patterns, so we can come on here. We might actually have you back, and then you can actually, that would be nice. So we'll get a confirmed yes from him now, so you can't back out of it, Kim.
I'll always come back.
All right. Well, we'll get you on, and then you can show us all your patterns, and you can direct everyone to the website where they need to go and buy them.
Well, I'll see you at Islington as well, because I'm at the Stitch Festival at Islington. I'm teaching. I think I've got 4 classes a day on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'll catch up with you there, Luke. Other than that, I'm going to be badgering Mr. McDonald throughout 2025. He sent me a parcel, arrived. The postman knocked on the door and said, "Is Miss Bossy Boots here?" That's what he put on the front. So
well, if the cap fits.
Rude. I'm also, if anybody wants to do it, if you go to Stitchtopia, which is leisure travel, I'm doing a couple of holidays with them, one abroad in Northern Cyprus in November and one in the Lake District in September. Other than that, I'm teaching locally. I've got a new class started locally, which I'm really excited about. The last thing I want to say is, Luke, thank you so much for joining us. It's been
for having me.
Absolutely fabulous. And we will see, because you've already committed, we will see you in the new year, whether you like it or not. Wish you and your family a Merry Christmas, because I believe you've got all your in-laws coming over, haven't you?
Yeah.
How many?
Literally in an hour or so. They're flying over from Spain.
We must let you go. So happy Christmas to you and all your family. Alistair, we'll see lots and lots of you over the next few weeks and few months and year. Have a wonderful Christmas as well. Thank you.
You too, my darlings.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for all of the interaction on the House of Alistair YouTube channel as well. Keep asking the questions. We have made the list of things that you wanted to see demonstrated. But rather than doing little bits at the beginning of the year, Alistair and I wanted to really put a programme in together. So come the end of the year, you'll see things. So keep sending things in as well. If you think of something, then please don't hesitate to drop us either a comment on the YouTube or Facebook. Now, if you want to follow Luke, Luke doesn't do Facebook because that's for the old people. Luke is on Instagram.
But he was banned.
Sorry? What did you
He was banned.
He was banned from Facebook.
Don't tell anyone that.
So, Luke, we can follow you as Luke on Facebook. On Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Instagram, TikTok, and I'm also on YouTube if you fancy taking a look. And it's all So Luke Ivo, SEW Luke IVO.
So what I'll do is I'll put the links in for there. Does Selma have our own social media?
Selma has her own Instagram, Selma Screams with a K, but there hasn't been much activity over there.
She's very busy, obviously.
She's very busy. Yeah, she's on holidays at the moment.
Well,
I heard she was banged up in Bangkok.
Yeah, straight after the festival we did.
I wonder why. Grace can get everybody into so much trouble and then she just swans off, you see. So we'll be seeing a lot more of Selma and Grace, and hopefully we could see Selma and Grace together in the future, which would be marvellous. So I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll see you in 2025. Thank you.
Take care.